in BlackBerry, it doesn't matter because the service can synchronize directly with that. But it's important to differentiate that you can't just do one without the other. There is just this ubiquity of network doesn't always exist. I've been sitting here in the old network glitch. I can't get access to the network. I don't want to have to just go down and not have to be productive. So we believe in an environment that gives you that freedom of choice as well, whether it's on-premise, whether it's delivered from your partners, maybe it's a hoster you're working with today, or whether it's from Microsoft or any other vendor. It's delivered as a hosted service direct to you. Now, the most important thing in this model is that it could be a hybrid. So, for example, you may already have invested in Exchange on your head office, but you may have remote workers out in China or remote workers out in other remote offices, and you may want to give them access to your infrastructure, but the service out there, you haven't got IT, you haven't got specialists out in the field. Well, you can deliver that similar experience out to the users in those remote offices by signing up to a Microsoft-hosted offering with our business offering. And the directory is synchronized between your on-premise server and your Microsoft Cloud services, so they see the same calendars, they see the same global address book, so they can look up people on your on-premise servers. But you don't have to let Microsoft manage those users remotely. And it becomes a much more efficient way, a cost-effective way of managing maybe the remote offices. So quite a lot of our customers are saying they like the benefit of doing that because they want the security and delivery of a fast service when they got them on-premise, but they may want the benefit of having cloud-based computing out in the field. So there's really probably a hybrid model. It's basically freedom of choice, and there are pros and cons to both cloud and delivery for on-premise. So what we've invested about a year or so ago in North America, we've rolled out across to the rest of the world something called Microsoft Online Services, which is effectively our on-premise solutions such as Exchange, SharePoint, Microsoft Live Meeting, and also OCS, Office Communications Server, which is our IM messaging platform. Everything you can buy on-premise, you can now get delivered through the cloud from Microsoft Online Services. And it's priced per user per month basis, and then one of the value propositions really is that you can have a mix of both on-premise and in the cloud. Now, so we sell this with partners as well. So this is, we don't believe this is just although you can buy it direct from Microsoft, you still need to implement this, you need to migrate, you need to integrate with what you have today. So a lot of our value proposition is working with our partners around the world, which we have 4,000 of, 25 of which are in Hong Kong, already that can provide advice and guidance on how to deliver this. Now, as Klaus said, there's several ways of delivering these things, multi-tenant or single-tenanted solutions. We have something called standard and also dedicated. So if you want to, you can have a shared architecture infrastructure starting from 5 users to 10,000 plus users. We'll talk about a customer that's got 100,000 users on the left-hand side of what we call standard offering, which you can subscribe to today. And then if you want Microsoft to host your entire infrastructure and manage your Exchange or SharePoint on your behalf, we can put it in our data centers here in Hong Kong or in Singapore, and we can have that as a completely dedicated hardware infrastructure managed on your behalf. So quite powerful in its delivery model and its freedom of choice. Now, interestingly, when you look at the market, there's a lot of people with PCs in organizations, but there's also a lot of workers that don't have PCs, that aren't necessarily, but they're still knowledge workers. So it could be, for example, an airline industry where you've got lots of cabin crew or pilots, etc., flying around the world. You might not give them a PC to connect, but they're knowledge workers and they need access to corporate information, maybe policies and maybe email. You might give that set of workers something we call deskless worker, which is maybe a lower footprint, lower cost option. So those guys and ladies can access the information remotely from a browser, not having to have a PC, but they can access from a browser remotely, maybe when they're out of the office. So we have this model of what we call a deskless worker, segmentation, and then maybe a knowledge worker that would have a PC, there'd be a power user, that have Outlook, that have Office, Exchange, etc. They maybe need more large storage space. So this option really gives flexibility in terms of how you address users. And I've talked to quite a few customers about this, and this is quite a nice option to have, because then you can reduce cost even further. Now, I'm going to go through some of the obvious benefits, but also just put out a few more maybe that help you with. One is finance. When we looked at some of the cost-benefit analysis and the TCO model for a lot of our customers, they said they saved over 40% of the savings were in the hardware, the software licensing, and then the ongoing maintenance, etc., upfront in terms of operational costs. So there's a big cost saving. And they don't even have to invest in backup and storage, because our data centers are geo-redundant, so if one goes down, the other one takes off, rather than having to have your own dedicated backup and secure infrastructure. And it really makes the cost predictable per user per month. You can scale up, you can scale down, you can reduce both CapEx and OpEx from delivering this, so off-balance sheet, as Klaus said, in terms of delivery. And it's priced very simply. Unlike some of our licensing programs, it's very easy to understand, and something that everybody can appreciate the benefits of. There's also lots of process benefits as well. Now, one of the things that we deliver in our offering is a financially backed SLA. So if the service goes down less than 99.9%, which it hasn't yet, touch wood, we start paying you back money for what you subscribe to. So it's putting your money where your mouth is in terms of delivery model. And we obviously have invested in data centers to make sure they're secure and available. I'll show you a quick video of this a bit later in terms of the security models that we're implementing. It is obviously a utility. It's very fast to deploy. So another example a bit later is a retail company who's managed to deploy their desktops with the whole Office suite plus Exchange and Outlook, etc., in a matter of a weekend, because they can deliver it as a service. So as a retailer, you want to bring out the store over the weekend. It's very quick to deliver the IT now because it's delivered as a service. And of course, it's available anywhere. Anywhere you can get connectivity through smart devices. We also, by the way, provide tools that make simple administration, simple end-user experience to log on and access information. Now, one of the benefits is obviously you reduce costs. You could probably outsource your IT, your messaging to Microsoft. It could free up the IT people to do more beneficial things. So focusing maybe on business applications or helping the business be more productive in other areas. And we obviously have been through some times when it helps reduce maybe the workforce. You can now save money by deploying this. But the other one is mergers and acquisitions. I know a lot of companies now, when they acquire a new company, there tends to be a different IT infrastructure. We've delivered a service that can be quickly delivered overnight, so you can get those new users up and running very quickly on a Microsoft platform, and then move them over time gradually into a more consistent infrastructure. So it helps in a number of different ways in terms of benefits. Now, there's basically trade-offs. When you look at the trade-offs, it's either through management of how you manage these things, or the configuration and flexibility. So just taking Exchange as an example, if you deploy Exchange online, obviously it's relatively simple to manage because Microsoft is managing it for you, but it has limitations in terms of what configurations and what options you have. Whereas if you deploy Exchange dedicated,